What's up guys, and welcome to my channel. For today's video, I am going to give you my honest review on one of the most anticipated MMO in the market, which is the Go Muffin idle game. Recently, one of my friends asked me to try this game out, and to be honest, I wasn't really sure if I will be able to do it or not. However, as days passed by, I've noticed a lot of ads about this game in YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. So I got curious, and I told myself, maybe I am missing out on an actual good MMORPG. So I decided to play the game and experience it for myself. But before I go through my honest review, I just want to mention this first. This is not your typical MMORPG on the market. This is an idle game. For those who doesn't know what an idle game is, this is a game that allows players to progress without actively playing the game itself. Most of the time, players are just performing simple actions like tapping or swiping things in the game in order to earn in-game currency or items. The mechanical gameplay that you often see in big MMORPGs is not really applicable when it comes to idle games, because majority of the time, your character is on autopilot. That is the reason why I wanted to mention that first, because I'm sure that not everyone is into those types of games. Now that we've got that out of the way, let's first talk about the gameplay of Go Muffin. Once you start your journey in this game, you will be directed to the game's character creation. From there, you will be selecting the role that you want to play. From the Sword Bearer, which is basically the tank, the Wayfarer, which is the long-range DPS, the Scholar, which is the magic-type DPS, Shadow Lash, which is the assassin class, and the Acolyte, which is basically your support class. It has the basic or most common classes that you can find in an MMORPG. Another thing that really stood out to me is the art style and graphics of the game. If I'm going to be honest, even though I am still at the character creation phase of the game, I can already tell that the graphics in this game is better than other MMORPGs in the market. In terms of character customization, there's nothing really that new, as you can change your gender, hairstyle, eyebrow, and voice of your character. Fairly typical in an MMORPG. After creating your character, you will then be directed to the next phase of the game, and that is the start of your journey. From here, the story mode of the game starts, where you will go through different chapters of the story, and within those chapters are multiple stages, where your character will fight hordes of monsters, and to top it all off, a boss monster in order to move to the next stage. At the same time, this is where you will see the main difference between an idle game and an actual MMORPG. As you can see, my character is automatically moving by itself. There is no way for me to control the movement of my character. My character will automatically move and clear all the monsters in that stage. The only thing that I can control in combat is the use or activation of my skills. But don't worry, if you are wondering if there are auto skill activation in this game, that feature will be unlocked as you go through the beginning of the story. When it comes to the progression system of the game, it has the typical equipment, skill, and talent progression of an MMORPG. The equipment system in this game is fairly easy and straightforward. You can get equipments from monsters that you fight in the map and from dungeons and instances. What's good about the equipment system in this game is that whenever you enhance your items, you are basically enhancing your equipment slot, so changing items as you move forward will not be a problem at all, as your enhancements will be retained by your new equipment. At the same time, you also have different equipment tiers in the game, as well as some set effects for rare equipments. You can also recast or add random stats to your equipment in order to improve your progress. But before I talk about the other progression systems in the game, I just want to mention that the user interface in Go Muffin is very simple and easy to understand. If you have been watching my other game reviews, you already know that I am a huge fan for simple UIs in a game. because this makes it more accessible to different types of players, from casual to hardcore alike. I am not really a fan of games with very complicated UIs, because it doesn't really help the player base of the game. It only gatekeeps casual players, so the UI in Go Muffin is a really big plus for me. Moving on to the skill system, I was a bit surprised with the skill system in this game. I initially thought that the skills for each character will be very linear and one-dimensional. However, this game proved me wrong, because you can build your character depending on the playstyle that you want. For example, I selected the Swordbearer class, which is basically the tank in this game. But with the wide range of skills available for each class, I was able to make a DPS build for my character whenever I am doing my main story, and a tank build whenever I am doing dungeons and rifts. It's really nice that even though this is an idle game, you can still play different playstyles for your character. Similar to other MMORPGs, the skills can also be leveled up and upgraded to a higher tier. The next progression in this game is the talent tree, which again is another option in creating different and unique builds for your class. You can basically select what route you want to follow and pair it up with the playstyle that you want to play, which is very engaging if I'm going to be honest. Now that we've talked about the basic gameplay and mechanics of Go Muffin, let's talk about the other content available in-game, and that is the dungeons and rifts that you can raid with your friends or other players in the game. Just like your typical dungeon in an MMORPG, you can get high-tier equipments in each raid. One thing that really made me happy about this system is that raiding a dungeon requires specific roles, meaning you need to have a tank and a support in a party, together with your damage dealers. I really appreciate role-playing games that puts an emphasis on the importance of each class. Some MMORPGs don't really do that, especially when we are talking about whales. Most of the time, they can be the tank, the DPS, and the support just because they can spend so much money in the game. But in Go Muffin, I haven't really encountered that type of player, which is really nice because it makes each role important in a raid. Of course, there will be whales in this game as well, but so far, based on what I have experienced in doing dungeon raids, especially the higher levels, it still requires a complete party. Moving on to the next item on our list, which is the in-game currency. Basically, there are only two currencies in Go Muffin. You have the gold, which is the normal currency that you can get from monsters, and you have the stellarite, which is the premium currency that you typically get from topping up. But before I talk about the gacha system, I just want to mention one feature that I really liked in this game, which is the companion feature. You can party up with another player who can either carry you or you can carry them in completing the different stages and chapters of your journey. As you can see, my companion is offline, but she is still following me through my journey, which means that she is also getting the loot, experience, and gold from eliminating the monsters in the game. This is basically your offline rewards or progression. Even though you are not active in the game, you can still level up and farm experience, equipment, and gold. Now that I've covered the main features of the game, it's time to answer the most anticipated and awaited question when it comes to my honest reviews. Is the game pay to win? The simple answer to that is yes. This is a pay to win game, because the main gacha systems available is crucial to your character's progression. The first gacha system that you have to take note of is the divination gacha. This is where you will get the skills of your character. You heard it right. The skills of each class is only available through a gacha system. Your main target in this gacha is to get the highest tier of your skill, which is the legendary tier. The second gacha system is also a huge proponent when it comes to your character's progression, and this is the melody summoning. Basically, the Melomon is this game's version of a pet system. The reason why I said this is a huge factor in your progression is because the stats that the pets can give you can really improve your character significantly. Now, before I talk about the things that I didn't really like about this game, I just want to mention that this game has no PvP as of the moment. This is more of a PvE type of a game, so don't get pressured in rushing your character's progression. I am not really sure if there will ever be a PvP content in the game. Perhaps we will just have to wait and see for the future updates of Go Muffin. With that being said, the game also has some flaws and issues that I've encountered. One of them is the multiple game crashes in my emulator, and another one is the game freezing whenever I am in the camp's window. Although it didn't happen frequently, I just wanted to point that out as I am using an emulator when playing this game. Overall, the game is quite good, although it didn't really reinvent the wheel when it comes to the gameplay and mechanics of an MMORPG. It still delivered a fun and enjoyable MMO experience. At first, I was hesitant to even try this game for an hour, but that hour turned into days as I am still playing it up until now, and I am excited to reach the next progression of my class. If you don't mind playing a game that relies heavily on its gacha system, then you might want to try this game out. At the end of the day, I don't really base my opinion if a game is pay to win. If a game is fun and I am enjoying the gameplay, I will play that game regardless if it is a pay to win or not. And that's it for my review. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, and if you want to see more game reviews, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. GG!
You're a superhero.